as well as responses to the questions that were submitted to us ahead of this training. We will answer additional clarifying questions at the end of the presentation during the Q&A section. To submit your questions, please type in your question in the Q&A spot on the control panel near the bottom of the screen. Some of your questions might have already been answered as I walk through the training slides, so it is highly recommended to hold off typing in your question until we enter the Q&A section at the end of this presentation. Please note, we only provide responses to questions pertaining to the CTC-VIS database reporting. In this training, first, I will provide a quick introduction on the CTC-VIS landing page. I will then walk you through steps of registering your CTC-VIS account, adding and managing your Fleek locations, adding and managing users who also have access to your entity account to help manage your account, adding and managing vehicles to your entity account, paying program compliant fees for your reported vehicles, and finally, downloading your compliance certificates. To access CTC-VIS portal, type cleantruckcheck.arb.ca.gov in your web browser. It will then lead you to the CTC-VIS landing page. The website is live and vehicle owners have been able to report their vehicles and pay the program compliant fees in October this year. On this page, you will be able to log into your CTC-VIS account to start reporting your entity and vehicle information to CARB. If you have already registered an account with CTC-VIS, you will be able to register for your CTC-VIS account if you have not had one. There are also Clean Truck Check program-related links for your convenience. All of these links are clickable and will take you directly to the information you are seeking for. There is also a help link up in the right corner of the page where you could find more detailed description of the CTC-VIS form, pages, and functionalities. So how can we register an account with CTC-VIS? To register an account, on the CTC-VIS landing page, click on the Register box. It will then direct you to the User Owner Registration form, which is shown in the next slide. On the User Owner Registration form, first, you will need to fill in your email address here. It is very crucial to provide a correct email address in this step because the entered email address will be your username for your CTC-VIS account, and you will need this username information to log into your CTC-VIS account. In addition, once you complete filling out this account registration form, the system will email you further authentication and account setup steps via this provided email address. Without those emails, you will not be able to authenticate your account and will not be able to access the CTC-VIS application. Again, please make sure you enter a correct email address here. You can add and manage multiple fleet locations under one email address for one entity, and I will show you how in the subsequent part of this training. However, if you would like to create multiple entities, you will have to register a separate entity with a different email address by going through the same entity account registration process again, because a unique email address is required when creating an entity. Now, re-enter your email address here one more time to confirm, then click Continue to move on to the Entity Information section of the form. In the Entity Information section, you will need to select your applicable entity type, which are either company, government entity, or individual. We received a question about registering an entity as an individual or a company. If you have a registered business and your reported vehicles are used for the business, you will register your entity as company. If you are an owner-operator and don't have a registered business, you will register your entity as individual. If you select company or government entity, You will need to also fill out your entity legal name. You are required to fill out your physical and mailing addresses, as well as your name and phone number. Your physical address will be your main office address. If your mailing address is the same as your physical address, you can check this box here, and it will auto-populate your mailing address with your already entered physical address. Please note that fields indicated with red asterisks are required fields and need to be filled out in order for you to complete your account registration. Now click on Next to move on to the form submission section. In the form submit section, you will be required to check this box to certify the submitted information is true and complete to the best of your knowledge. The submitter name will be auto-populated with your input CTC-VIS account username, which is also your registered email address. You can review your input information by clicking on the Preview Submission Summary button here. Once you are good with the display information, click Submit. At this point, your user owner registration form has been submitted to the system. If you have not yet enrolled in CARP Okta authentication before, you will receive 2 emails in your email inbox, one from CARP Okta to authenticate your account, and the other from CTC-VIS to acknowledge your account establishment. Please check your emails for those 2 emails. If you don't see the emails, please be sure to also check your junk email or spam, as sometimes the emails can land there as well. If you have already enrolled your email in other CARP applications using Okta authentication before, you will not need to go through the Okta authentication step and can use the same account credential for CTC-VIS login right after you are done with submitting this user owner registration form. Go ahead and click Close to close out the form. So this screenshot shows an example of the CARP Okta email you would receive after finishing the account registration steps discussed in the previous slides. The Okta email will allow you to activate your CTC-VIS account and set up your account password. Click on this Activate CARP Account button. This Okta password setup page will allow you to set up your registered CTC-VIS account password. First, click on this Setup button. Then type in your desired password here. Please follow the password requirements listed here when creating your account password. Then click Next to complete your password setup. It will then direct you to the Okta My App page with a rocket icon as shown here. Go ahead and close out this page on your web browser. Once you are done with your CTC-VIS account activation, there are a couple ways for you to start logging into your CTC-VIS account. You can type in cleantruckcheck.arb.ca.gov in your web browser, then click on this login box. Or from your CTC-VIS welcoming email in your email inbox, click on this hyperlink here. Using either of the ways described above will take you to your CTC-VIS account login page. Input your username in this box, then click Next. Type in your passwords in this box, then click Verify. So you are now logging in as an entity admin. On the account homepage, it will show your account information, including, for example, your entity ID and entity name. As an entity admin, you will be able to set up and update your entity information, fleet locations, and vehicles. You will also be able to set up and update your compliant fee payment preferences, make payments, and view your payment histories. You will also be able to set up and update your account notifications. To edit your entity information, click on this My Entity bubble. This My Entity page displays your entity information and the entity account status. For the US DOT number, California MCP ID, MCOMX number, IRP account number, and California PUC ID, you can have multiple of those numbers within your entity account. A separate number can be assigned later to each vehicle that is entered into the system. If you would like to edit your entity information, click on this action button here. Then select Edit Details. It will then direct you to the Vehicle Entity Owner Information form as shown here. The Fleet Owner field is already populated with your entity name. In the description field, please fill in a brief description of this specific form instance. For example, in this case, you could type in Edit Entity Information. The description will help you locate your form later if needed. Click Save and Continue to move on to the next section of the form. On this section, you can edit your entity information, including entity legal name, physical address, and mailing address. You will not be able to edit your name and phone number in this form. As shown here, these fields have been grayed out. I will show you how to edit your name and phone number in the later slides, as this will involve a different navigation steps. Go ahead and click on Next to move on to the next section of the form. Go ahead and click on Next to the next 3 sections of the form. On the Form Submit section, you will be required to check this box to certify the submitted information is true and complete to the best of your knowledge. The submitter name will be auto-populated with your name. You can review your input information by clicking on the Preview Submission Summary button here. Once you are good with the display information, click Submit. To edit your name and phone number, go back to your entity homepage. Click on the main menu option near the top of the page. Then click on My Details. Click on the Actions button and select the applicable information that you would like to update, either your general OCTA information or your phone number. Once you click on Edit General OCTA, you can edit your personal information by clicking on the Edit Profile button here, or reset your password here. To update your phone information only, you can select this Edit Phone Numbers options. Then update your phone numbers here and here. The rest of your personal information will need to be updated in OCTA when you click on this Link to OCTA button. Once up, the first step after creating a CTC-VIS account is to add your fleet location if your fleet have multiple locations or offices where your vehicles belong to. This will help organize your reported vehicles by locations, and later on, you could assign one or more location admins to help managing the reported vehicles by locations in your account if you desire. It is totally up to you how you would like to organize your vehicles to what locations. I will now show you how to add and manage fleet locations to your entity account. On your entity homepage, click on the My Entity bubble. Once you're on the My Entity page, scrolling down to the Fleet Locations grid as shown here, you will see that your enter physical address when you registered your CTC-VIS account is already set as your primary place of business. You can edit this information, but you will not be able to delete this location. To start adding a location to your account, click on the Actions button here. Then select Add Location. In the pop-up Add Location entry box, fill in the location information in these red asterisk fields. Just a note on the location name field. It's up to you on how you would like to name your location. If you have locations across different cities, you could use the city name as your location name, but it's totally up to you. Then click Save. There will be a pop-up message saying the location has been successfully added. Go ahead and click OK. You will now see your added locations showed up on your Fleet Locations grid underneath your primary place of business. I have a couple of locations added here as examples. To add more locations, again, click on this action button and select Add Location. You also have the option of exporting your entity fleet location data in Excel by selecting the Export Excel option here. There are sort and filter options for your use. You can sort the display locations by clicking on any of the column label that you would like to sort by. You can filter the display location by clicking on the filter icon right next to the field that you would like to filter. You can select what data field you would like to display on this grid. Hover your mouse or cursor to the gear icon. Check the fields that you like to display or uncheck the fields that you would not like to display by clicking on the respective fields. As mentioned earlier, for your primary place of business, you can edit location information, but you will not be able to deactivate the location. Hence, when you click on the blue action for the location row, the deactivate location option is grayed out. If you click on the action for the other location rows, there are both options available, edit locations and deactivate location. When you select edit location, this add location entry will pop up, and you can edit whatever the location information that you would like to change, then click Save. When you select deactivate location, there will be a pop-up message asking for your confirmation of the location deactivation. Then click Yes. The location status will change from active to deactive. You can also reactivate a deactivated location by clicking on the action for the location row, then click Reactivate Location. You will see the location status changing from deactivated to active. Due to the system default setting, the fleet location grid sometimes does not show the location that have been deactivated. If you like your fleet location grid to show all active and deactivated locations, click on this clear filter button at the upper left corner of the fleet location grid. In the CTC-VIS system, you can add one or multiple users to your entity account to help managing your entity. I will now show you how to add new users and manage existing users who have access to your entity account. On your entity homepage, click on the My Entity bubble. Once on the My Entity page, scrolling down to the Manage Users grid as shown here, it is near the end of the page. Since you are the original creator of the CTC-VIS entity account, you have been already assigned with Entity Admin Security role. You will be able to add users with Co-Entity Admin role and/or Location Admin role. Co-Entity Admin user will have the same rights as Entity Admin in updating the account and fleet information, making compliant fee payments, as well as managing the user access to the entity account, meaning adding, modifying, and/or deactivating a user. Location Admin, on the other hand, will only be able to add and manage vehicles within their assigned locations. Location Admin cannot make compliant fee payments for any vehicles in the entity. To start adding a user to your account, click on the Actions button here. Then select Add User. On the Add User entry box, fill out the user first name and last name. For user role, click on the drop-down menu and select Co-Entity Admin or Location Admin. Note that if you are adding a Co-Entity Admin, the location field will disappear as you don't need to assign a location for a Co-Entity Admin. A Co-Entity Admin will have access to all vehicle locations. However, when adding a Location Admin, you will need to select what location the Location Admin is assigned to. Again, Location Admin will only be able to add and manage vehicles within their assigned locations. This location drop-down menu contains the list of your fleet location that you had added previously. You can assign one or multiple locations to a Location Admin user. Location admin will not be able to add and manage vehicles in the location that they are not assigned to. Fill out the added user phone number and their email address. Again, it is important to fill in a correct email address here so that the added user can receive the system authentication emails to activate their CTC-VIS account. Then click Save. Then click OK to the system confirmation message. If the added user has not previously had an Okta account, they will receive 2 emails from CTC-VIS and Okta in their email inbox to activate their CTC-VIS account. If the added user has already had an Okta account, the user will just need to log into the CTC-VIS account using their Okta account credentials, and they will start having access to your entity account information. All of the added user will be shown in the Manage Users grid, along with their status of pending or active. Pending meaning your added user has not yet activated or logged into the CTC-VIS account. I have a couple of users added here as examples. For location admin, it will show the locations that they were assigned to. To add more user, again, click on this action button and select Add User. You also have the option of exporting your user data in Excel by selecting the Export Excel option here. Similar to other grids shown in your My Entity page, there are sort and filter options for your use. You can sort the displayed users by clicking on any of the column label that you would like to sort by. You can filter the display user by clicking on the filter icon right next to the field that you would like to filter. You can select what data field you would like to display on this grid. Hover your mouse or cursor to this gear icon. Check the fields that you like to display or uncheck the fields that you would not like to display by clicking on the respective fields. If you would like to edit your user, click on the blue action option for the user row. Click Edit User. On the Add User entry box, you can change the user role, but you cannot change any of the rest of the user information. You can also deactivate your user. Select Deactivate User here. There will be a pop-up message asking for your confirmation of the user deactivation. Then click OK. The user status will change from active to inactive. You can also reactivate an inactive user by clicking on the action for the user row. Then click Reactivate User. There will be a pop-up message asking for your confirmation of the user reactivation. Then click OK. You will see the user status changing from inactive to active. Due to the system default setting, the Manage User grid sometimes do not show the user that have been deactivated. If you like your Manage Users grid to show all active and inactive user, click on this Clear Filter button at the upper left corner of the Manage User grid. Now moving on to Vehicle Management feature on CTC-VIS. Before diving into the vehicle adding functionality within CTC-VIS, I would like to remind you that you will only need to report vehicles that are subject to the Clean Truck Check in your CTC-VIS account. That means that with rare exception, all vehicles that are non-gasoline heavy-duty vehicles operating in California with a GVWR greater than 14,000 pounds must be reported. Zero-emission vehicles such as electric or hydrogen vehicles, however, are not subject to Clean Truck Check and do not need to be reported in your entity account. You are required to report your vehicles and pay the program-compliant fees by the end of this year, December 31st, 2023. This also includes single vehicle fleets, out-of-state vehicles, as well as government and district fleets. Also, if you have change in your reported vehicles after you report your vehicles to your entity account, such as vehicle removal or newly acquired vehicles, you are required to deactivate or add the vehicles within 30 days of removal or acquired. We received a question about who will be responsible for reporting leased vehicles. For lease agreements less than 1 year, it is the lessor. For lease agreements of 1 year or more, it can be the lessee if it is specified in the lease agreement. If it isn't specified in the lease agreement, it is the lessor. There are a couple of ways that you can add vehicles to your entity on CTC-VIS. On your My Entity page, scrolling down to the vehicle grid as shown here, click on the Action button here. Then select Add Vehicle. It will then direct you to this vehicle entity owner information form where you can start your vehicle reporting process. Another way of adding your vehicles is to click on the Forms icon on the upper right corner of the My Entity page here, then click Online Forms. It will then direct you to the Online Forms tab of the System Activity page. Click on the Vehicle Entity Owner Information form shown here. It will then direct you to the same Vehicle Entity Owner Information form as the one I just showed earlier, where you can start your vehicle reporting process.
Real quick, Fong, if I can make a quick announcement.
Sure.
We do ask that everybody holds their questions until the end. And in regards to any questions about the presentation slides being posted, we will be putting together a user guide that will same screenshots. So we'll get that together as soon as we can and get that posted for you guys to be able to take a look at. So in terms of presentation slides, those themselves will not be posted, but again, we're putting together a user guide with screenshots and information that'll help you guys understand how to go about this reporting process. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So back to the form information section of the vehicle entity owner information form, you will see that the fleet owner field is already populated with your entity name. In the description field, please fill in a brief description of this specific form instance. For example, in this case, you could type in Add Vehicles. The description will help you locate the form later within the Forms in Progress and Forms Submitted tabs in the Online Forms page that I showed in the previous slide. Then click Save and Continue. On this entity information section of the form, all the fields have been pre-populated with your entity information that you last entered into the system. Go ahead and click Next. This location information form shows all your entered fleet locations. Go ahead and click Next. CTC-VIS allows you to do bulk vehicle upload so that you can add multiple vehicles to the system at the same time using a provided bulk upload file template. This will make it convenient to fleets with many vehicles that need to be reported in their CTC-VIS entity. You also have the option of adding your vehicles individually without doing a bulk upload, which I will show you how in the later slides. For now, let's say you would like to do a bulk upload of your vehicles. Select Yes to this display question. It will then show the 3 steps that you need to follow. First, click here to download the bulk upload or BU template. Open the download PU files as shown here. There are 3 tabs on this Excel file: Field Details, EDD, and Validations. You will fill out or copy in the vehicle information in this EDD tab here. Required fields are highlighted in orange. One thing I would like to point out, based on one of the questions we received from this training audience, is about the location field. You can leave the field blank. The system will default the vehicle location to the entity primary place of business. Otherwise, there will be a drop-down menu of the fleet location that you had added in your fleet location grid for you to choose from. If you want your fleet location to show up in this location drop-down menu, be sure to add those locations in before downloading your bulk vehicle upload file template. This Field Details tab describes all the field elements of the form template for your reference. So when finishing filling all of your vehicles, go back to your CTC-VIS page to upload the BU file. Click on Browse. to navigate to your BU file to upload the file, then click Next. Excuse me. It will take some time for the system to load your uploaded BU file and may require you to refresh the page a couple times. The system will also email you the confirmation email of the file upload. As the uploaded vehicles got displayed on this vehicle information page, it will flag which vehicles did not pass the validation test and will need your update to the vehicle information. To update the vehicle information, click on the blue action for the vehicle row, then select Edit. In the popped-up Edit Vehicle entry box, correct the flag vehicle information. Note that the system will run a VIN digit check on your input VIN. If it displays your VIN fails the VIN digit check, but you believe that you enter a correct VIN, you can check this irregular VIN box. By checking this box, it indicates that you are submitting a non-standard VIN, but it is accurate and true for this vehicle. Once finishing updating your vehicle information, click Save. Continue fixing all of the flag vehicles. You can also deactivate a vehicle entry by clicking on the blue action for the vehicle row that you would like to deactivate. Select Deactivate. Click Yes for the popped-up confirmation message, then select your reason for the vehicle removal. Now you can click Next here to move on to the next section of the form. On the form submit section, you will be required to check this box to certify the submitted information is true and complete to the best of your knowledge. The submitter name will be auto-populated with your name. You can review your input information by clicking on the Preview Submission Summary button here. Once you are good with the display information, click Submit. Now, what if you do not want to bulk upload your vehicles and would like to add your vehicles individually? Going back to the bulk vehicle upload section of the vehicle entity owner information form that I showed before, which I'm also showing here. You will now select No for the display question, which is also a default selection in the system. Then click Next. To add vehicle, click on this Action button. Then select Add Vehicle. On the Add Vehicle entry box, fields with red asterisks are required fields and need to be filled out. First, select the location that the vehicle belongs to. Enter VIN. Please note that the system will run a VIN digit check on your input VIN once you save this Add Vehicle entry box. If it displays your VIN fails the VIN digit check, but you believe you enter a correct VIN, you can check this irregular VIN box. By checking the box, this indicates that you are submitting a non-standard VIN, but it is accurate and true for this vehicle. Continue filling out the rest of the vehicle information. If the vehicle falls under agriculture or motorhome as defined in the Clean Truck Check regulation, please check the box here accordingly. If your vehicle is exempted from the Clean Truck Check, please check here and select the exemption reason in the drop-down menu. Then click Save. Your added vehicles will show up in this vehicle information section of the form. You can continue adding more vehicles following the same steps I showed in the previous slide. Once you are done adding your vehicles, click Next to move on to the form submission step. Again, on this form submit section, you will be required to check this box to certify the submit information is true and complete to the best of your knowledge. The submitter name will be auto-populated with your name. You can review your input information by clicking on the Preview Submission Summary button here. Once you are good with the display information, click Submit. So your reported vehicles will be displayed in the vehicles grid on your My Entity page, as shown here. You will have the option of exporting your entity vehicle data in Excel by clicking on the Action button here. Then select the Export Excel option here. To edit or deactivate a vehicle, click on the blue action button on any of the vehicle rows. You can select either Edit Vehicles or Deactivate Vehicles. It should not matter because either of those selections will direct you to the same vehicle entity owner information form. Similar to the Add Vehicle process that I walked you through earlier, fill out a brief description of your form in this section, then click Next, then clicking Next through a couple of subsequent steps to move forward to the vehicle information section of the form as shown here. Click on Action on the vehicle row that you would like to edit. Click Edit to edit the vehicle information, or click Deactivate to deactivate the vehicle. Click Next to move on to the next step of submitting the form. Now back to the vehicle grid on the My Entity page, you can reactivate a deactivated vehicle. Click on the blue actions for the vehicle row, then select Reactivate Vehicles. There will be a pop-up message asking for your confirmation of the vehicle reactivation, then click Yes. You will see the user status changing from deactivated to active. Due to the system default setting, the vehicle's grid sometimes does not show the vehicle that have been deactivated. If you like your vehicle's grid to show all active and deactivated vehicles, click on this Clear Filter button at the upper left corner of the vehicle grid. I will now show you how to make program-compliant fee payments for your reported vehicles in your CTC-VIS entity account. On your entity homepage, click on the Fees and Payments bubble. The Fees and Payment page displays all the vehicles that have been registered with CTC-VIS under your entity account and with payment due status. Note that only entity and co-entity admins of the entity account can make the program-compliant fee payments. Location admin will not be able to make any of the compliant fee payment, even if it's for the vehicle under their assigned locations. You can pay for one or multiple vehicle compliant fees at once. Select the vehicle that you would like to pay the program compliant fee for by checking the boxes on the vehicle rows. Then click on this action button here and select Add Selected Items to Cart. Or you can also click on the blue action shown for the row, then select Add to Cart. To add all of your vehicles to the cart, you can click on this box here, then click on this action button here, and select Add Selected Items to Cart. You can also remove the selected vehicles by selecting Remove Selected Items from Cart option here. The added vehicle fees will be shown as in cart. Now click on this Proceed to Checkout button. You can also click on this cart icon up here to move forward with your payment. The checkout page will display the list of vehicles that you selected for the program compliant fee payment. Click on Pay with Card or Pay with Bank Account, depending on your preferred payment method. Please note there will be additional convenience fees for card payment. If you pay with bank account, there will be no convenience fee. Filling out your card or your bank account information and click Submit. You are only able to make the vehicle program compliant fee electronically via the CTC-VIS portal using cards or bank accounts. No paper check is accepted. You will receive the receipt emails from SnapPay and CTC-VIS in your email inbox. Please keep them for your record. If you pay by bank account, it will take 5 business days for the payment to get cleared. You will obtain your vehicle compliance certificate once your payment is cleared. Please note that when making your compliant fee payments, to prevent any unintended system errors that could lead to payment issue, such as duplicated fee payments, do not log into your CTC-VIS account on multiple tabs and on multiple web browsers at the same time. In addition, please make sure no other authorized user logging into your entity account at the same time as you are making the compliant fee payments. If you make a payment and the system displays an error message such as error loading data, do not make another payment right away. Please check your email for a message from SnapPay to see if your payment was submitted successfully. So back to your fees and payments page. You can see the history of your transactions in the transaction history grid as shown here. You can search the transaction by vehicle VIN and license plate. You can also search for payments by a specified payment date range, then click search. You can click on Clear Search to see all of your payment history. Moving on to compliance certificate. For now, once your vehicle program compliant fees are successfully processed and clear, your vehicles will be issued with a vehicle compliance certificate, and you will be able to download your vehicle compliance certificate from your CTC-VIS account. Once the Clean Truck Check periodic testing requirements start to kick in sometime next year, in addition to the annual compliant fee, you will also need to submit the required passing periodic test results in order to obtain your vehicle compliance certificate. So back to this vehicles grid on the My Entity page as shown here. Vehicles that have been paid with their program compliant fee will have the download option showed up in the vehicle compliance certificate column. Click on the download to download your vehicle compliance certificate. If all of your reported vehicles have been paid with their program compliant fees and be compliant with the Clean Truck Check, you will be able to request an affirmation of fleet-wide compliance. On the My Entity page, scroll to Affirmation of Fleet-wide Compliance section as shown here. You will need to click on this box to attest your fleet. Then click Attest My Fleet button here. There will be a pop-up message confirming your successful fleet attestation. Click OK. Then click Print Affirmation of Fleet-wide Compliance to download your fleet-wide certificate. So this concludes my walkthrough of the CTC-VIS reporting training. You can contact the CARB Clean Truck Check team at hdinm@arb.ca.gov if you have further questions about the CTC-VIS database after this training.